Congratulations! You've unlocked special deals just for you.
San Francisco, the city boom, U.S. Midwest, Northwest. Oh no, wow.
Tama na yan. Bigyan mo niya kay Daddy. Lagi mo din yung araw-araw.
Hoy, where we going?
Siyempre, siyempre.
Hala, patay ka.
Sige na doon. At baka nga lagi yan na nga ng damit.
Where we going?
Hindi ka raw.
Hala, patay. Pamay pa premyo? Pamay ano? Jollibee? Pamay ano? Chicken roll? Aba. Hala. Ah. Oh, sa pag-awal this Monday. Walang pasok! This Monday! Walang pasok this Monday! Ang mga nasa na walang pasok! Walang pasok this Monday! Sabado! Ang peace! Is it live? Sabado. Close. Close. Jollibee?
founder is a guy named Evan Dow, a well-known industry mucker. We tried to contact him, but he's not answering our calls and has rejected all our PR firm's outreach attempts. The assistant stammer. And Nexus Dynamics? What's their response? They haven't said anything. They just posted a short statement on their website saying they retain the services of Rebecca Thorne and will vigorously defend themselves in court, and that they have full faith in the legal process. Rebecca Thorne? Vance's eye twitched. He knew that name. The woman who was said to be undefeated in the field of intellectual property law. It was then that Vance finally understood. He had been played. From the very beginning, he had walked straight into a perfectly designed trap. He thought he was the hunter, but his prey had dug a pit, laid a net, and simply waited for him to fall in. He had tried to crush Nexus with a lawsuit, and they had turned that lawsuit into a weapon, putting him and all of Apex on public trial. Brilliant. It was utterly, infuriatingly brilliant. He had lost, and he had lost spectacularly. Just then, the red, encrypted phone on his desk began to ring, its shrill tone cutting through the silence. He saw the name on the caller ID, and his restricted. It was the chairman's private line. He took a deep breath, and with a trembling hand, he answered the call. The voice on the other.
Así jugaba Víctor Wembanyama cuando apenas tenía 16 años de edad. Lo primero que podemos notar a simple vista es que a pesar de su
Well, whatever. Iris will mess up a surgery and leave the patient paralyzed. She'll have her hand cut off in revenge. As for Betty, her precious Kevin will
floor-to-ceiling window.
Kevin will kidnap her and sell her off to some old man in the sticks to bear his children.
The vibrant cityscape was a stark contrast to the dead silence within the room. The chairman of the board, a man in his late 60s with a full head of white hair and sharp, commanding presence, sat behind a vast mahogany desk, his expression unreadable as he stared at Julian Vance. The other key members of the board were seated on sofas, their faces like masks of ice. Vance had never felt so alone. Just days ago, these same men had been praising him, calling him a ruthless closer. Now, their eyes held nothing but cold, undisguised contempt. Julian, the chairman, finally spoke, his voice even but heavy with authority. You have been with this corporation for 13 years. Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. Vance's voice was hoarse. In those 13 years, you have solved many difficult problems and achieved a great deal. I have always admired your decisiveness and your efficiency. The chairman's tone was almost nostalgic, but it sent a chill down Vance's spine. He knew this was the calm before the storm. But the chairman's voice suddenly turned to steel. Decisiveness should not become foolishness, and efficiency should not be used to drive this corporation off a cliff. He slammed a printed copy of the latest social media sentiment report onto his desk. Look at it. Look at it. The $5 bonus. That is the new brand of Apex Solutions. A joke for the entire world to laugh at. Our stock is down 9% in 2 days. That's a $6 billion loss in market value. $6 billion. Do you have any idea how many Leo Carters we could have hired with that money? Our largest institutional investors have been calling all morning, demanding answers. Our strategic financing plans for next year are now in jeopardy. And all of this is because of you, because of your brilliant idea to threaten them with a lawsuit. Each of the chairman's words was a hammer blow, crushing what little was left of Vance's composure. He wanted to argue, to say that his initial motivation was to protect...
I hid my identity.
At the sex tournament, my master shattered my bonded sword in front of everyone. No sword now, huh? Let's see how you keep walking the emotionless path. But what rang in my ears
was pointless. In the world of high finance, results are everything. Motivations don't matter. Excuses don't matter. If you win, you're a hero.
Your husband is the only person in your life who loved you purely by choice.
Enough. The chairman held up a hand. I don't want to hear any more of your explanations. The board has reached a unanimous decision. He picked up a document from his desk and tossed it at Vance as if it were a piece of trash. Effective immediately, you were terminated from your position as Group Vice President of Apex Solutions and all its affiliates. Your stock options will be repurchased by the corporation at their original strike price. As of this moment, you have no further connection to this company. Vance swayed on his feet, the color draining from his face. He had expected to be punished, but he had never imagined it would be this swift, this absolute. This wasn't just a termination. This was an erasure. Mr. Chairman, he tried one last time. My assistant...
Since we're divorcing, I won't treat you unfairly. What's rightfully...
Didn't even bother to look at him again. He turned to another man sitting on the sofa. David. Yes, Mr. Chairman. The man, David Liu, immediately stood up. David was another group vice president, responsible for risk management and public relations, known for his steady hand and diplomatic skill. The mess Julian has left is now yours to clean up, the chairman said, his tone final. I have two tasks for you. They are to be completed at any cost. First, in this ridiculous lawsuit. Now, they want money? Give it to them. They want a public apology? Give it to them. I don't care how you do it, but within 1 week, I want every negative mention of this lawsuit scrubbed from the media. Second, the chairman's eyes narrowed. Launch a top-to-bottom internal review. Start with Ken Miller and go all the way up his chain of command. Every single person who was complicit in this management failure will be held accountable. I want everyone in this corporation to understand that there is a price to be paid for arrogance and stupidity. Understood, David Liu said with a calm nod. Julian Vance stood there, shell-shocked, as he listened to the powers he once wielded being handed over to another man. He had gone from being a king on the chessboard to a discarded pawn. His career had just ended in a blaze of public humiliation. As an assistant escorted him from the office, he saw David Liu on the phone with his own secretary. He heard David's voice, a stark contrast to his own aggressive style. Calm, respectful. Please get me in touch with Rebecca Thorne, the legal counsel for Nexus Dynamics. Tell her that David Liu, Vice President of APEX Solutions, would like to schedule a meeting to discuss a settlement. And please convey that we will be coming with the utmost sincerity. Vance stumbled. He knew his era was over, and the reaping for Nexus Dynamics and Leo Carter had just begun. Rebecca Thorne's law office occupied a prime corner suite in a downtown skyscraper. When David Liu and his chief legal counsel walked into the spacious, sunlit conference room, Rebecca was casually sipping a cup of pour-over coffee, seated at the head of the table. She was alone. Her choice to meet them by herself was a statement in itself, a projection of absolute control and confidence. Mr. Liu, a pleasure, Rebecca said with a slight smile, not bothering to stand up. The pleasure is all mine, Ms. Thorne, David said, his tone deferential. He walked over and shook her hand. I'm here today on behalf of APEX Solutions to express our sincerest apologies to you and your clients for the misunderstanding. He got straight to the point. No games, no posturing. He immediately assumed a position of supplication. It was a world away from Julian Vance's arrogant, domineering style. Rebecca looked at him, her thoughts clear. She knew this wasn't about David being a better person than Vance. It was about the fact that their respective positions of power had been completely reversed. The strong demand respect. The defeated beg for terms. Your sincerity is noted, Mr. Liu, Rebecca said, gesturing for them to sit. Since you are here to be sincere, let's not waste time. My clients have a few clear, non-negotiable conditions for a settlement. Please, Miss Thorne, we are at your disposal, David said with an inviting gesture. Rebecca held up one finger. First, APEX Solutions will immediately and unconditionally withdraw all lawsuits against Nexus Dynamics and Mr. Leo Carter. Of course, we have the withdrawal letter ready. David nodded immediately. Rebecca held up the second finger. Second, APEX Solutions will publish a public apology on all its official channels, website, Twitter, etc. The apology will be addressed to Mr. Leo Carter and Nexus Dynamics, and it will be pinned to the top of all feeds. The legal counsel behind David flinched, but David silenced him with a look. Are there any specific requirements for the content of this apology? David asked, but of course, a subtle smile played on Rebecca's lips. The text of the apology will be drafted by my firm and published after your review. It must explicitly state the following points. A, an admission of gross mismanagement within the company, which led to the unjust departure of a highly valued employee, Mr. Leo Carter. This will be accompanied by a public and severe reprimand of the former director, Ken Miller, and other responsible parties. B, a clear statement that Mr. Carter's resignation was in full compliance with all legal procedures. The non-compete agreement he signed is declared null and void due to Apex's failure to provide financial compensation. Mr. Carter is fully within his rights to work for any company he chooses. C, and this is the most important point, a public acknowledgement that the new system architecture designed by Mr. Carter for Nexus Dynamics is in no way related to the Project Arc system he maintained at Apex. It is a new and independent intellectual creation. Apex's previous accusation of trade secret infringement was a baseless and erroneous judgment. After hearing these three conditions, David's legal counsel could no longer contain himself. Mr. Liu, this is tantamount to a public confession that our lawsuit was malicious, and it requires us to denigrate our own Project Arc system. David ignored him and looked at Rebecca. Ms. Thorne, isn't this demand a bit harsh? Rebecca smiled. Mr. Liu, you must understand, my clients had the option to prove all of these facts, one by one, in a court of law for the entire world to see. The damage to Apex's reputation in that scenario would have been 10 times worse than this apology letter. Our willingness to settle, to give you the opportunity to proactively admit your mistakes, is the greatest kindness we can offer. David was silent. He knew she was right. If the case went to trial and Leo presented his notes and the outdated code, Apex Solutions would become the laughingstock of the industry. It was better to cut off their own arm than to be publicly angered. All right, took a deep breath, as if making a difficult decision. I agree to this in principle. The specific wording will need to be negotiated. Of course, Rebecca nodded, then held up a third finger. Third, compensation. This incident has caused significant reputational and operational damages to my clients. Therefore, Apex will pay Nexus Dynamics for lost productivity, reputational damages, and all our legal fees for a total of, Rebecca paused, then named a number, $10 million. Additionally, Apex Solutions will, in the company's name, donate $2 million to the National Programmers Development Fund to support the growth and legal rights of young programmers. This donation must be publicly designated as being made in honor of Mr. in a direct compensation. $2 million in a designated donation. Hearing the numbers, David was actually relieved. Compared to the $6 billion in lost market value, this was a drop in the bucket. He had expected them to ask for much more. He understood that their goal was never money. It was justice. It was a public The remaining engineers were in a
So ito na naman ang episode ng ating crispy chicken. Una, kailangan nating hatiin ang chicken sa kalahati. Ganyan po ang paggaya. Tapos 1 centimeter lang po talaga yung laki ng chicken. At kailangan 8 piraso sa kalahati na yan ang iyong magayat kasi kusting po yan para magkaroon kayo ng ginansya o tubo. So ito po yung ating gagawin sa ating crispy chicken dahil marami nagtatanong at lahat po ay nahihirapan. So ito po yung paggawa ng butter. Kasi yun na po ang mahalaga ang paggawa po ng butter. At ang ingredients na sinasabi ninyo na hindi nyo makuha. 2 kilo lang po ng manok yan. Saka siyempre yung smoked paprika at saka unsmoked paprika. 2 na po yan. Tagi 1 kutsara. Cajun or Cajun 1 kutsara din. At siyempre yung ating garlic powder. 1 kutsara rin po yan. At saka yung ating white and ground black pepper, 1 kutsara din. Turmeric, mahalaga po yan. Yung kayo natin, huwag natin punuin yung kutsara, kalahati lang kasi mahangang po yan. Chipuli or chiputli, kailangan po yan yung chiputli natin. So, ayan na po, tsaka kunting asin, 1 kutsara din. At ito ang paggawa ng butter. Maaari kayong gumamit ng lemonade o kaya yung soda water. Ulitin natin yung 7 ingredients yon. Pwede po kayo maglagay ng ginisa mix at saka bitsin kung gusto niyo para lalong masarap. Dahil yun po ang mga sikrito natin ng mga Pilipino. At simply, yung gagamitin natin ay yung 2 basong flour at 1 basong corn flour. Yan lang po ang ating gagawin sa ating butter. At simply, kailangan natin i-whisk ng maigi para wala po siyang lumpy. Walang buo-buo. At ihalo po natin ito sa manok at marinate natin ng 2 oras. At ito po ang pag-marinate natin. 2 oras lang po sa fridge natin. Okay? Pag buong gabi, mas masarap, no? Kasi nga, mas lalo siyang malasa. Ma-absorb ng iyong manok ang iyong mga ingredients na nilalagay doon. Next one, paso. Kasi parang muli ako ng pag-iinig. Kasi nga marami nagtatanong na paano po hindi makuha. Pang-negosyo ito, ilaban nyo kay Diwata. Ito pa yung ating ika nga, pangkutin ulit. Ganun pa rin, 2 baso ng flour, 1 baso ng corn flour, at 7 ingredients ulit ng mga sinasabi kong ingredients. Tag 1 kutsara ulit. At saka yung ating salt na 1 kutsara. Haluin natin ng maigi at ganyan lang po yan yung ating pagkutin ay isishik lang natin. Huwag natin kamayin para hindi bubuo para pantay po ang braided o kaya pag-cover o pagkutin. Saka ito pagpito, 180 degrees centigrade lang po yan. Kailangan marami ang mantika para hindi masunog ang ating coated. Kaya yan po yan, pakinggan po natin yung lutong. Dahil kapag nagustuhan ninyo, please share na lang po ninyo. Dahil yan lang po at libre po ang aking recipe. Kaya ang akin lang po ay paki-like at paki-share na lang dahil pang negosyo po ito. At kung gusto niyo mag-message po kayo sa akin. Maraming salamat po. So ito guys, no? Tignan natin, kasi yung sinabi ko, hindi naman pwede niya, na-i-reveal ko yung isa na yun kasi isa lang na aking maiwan, no? Pero, guys, yung mga nakatikim talaga nito, sabi ko sa inyo, di ba sinabi ko sa unang video ko na nakaka-700 ako na customers sa isang araw nito nung ako'y head chef at ito ang ginamit ko na recipe. 700 in a day. Ganun kadami ang bumili nito. Tandang-tanda ko yan. Nakasa 720 to 730 yung bumili nito sa isang araw. Ganun siya katindi. Grabe ang feedback nito guys. Dahil lutong mo. Di ba? Grabe. Please share my video guys. So, yun lang yung akin. Libre naman eh. Share lang. Maraming salamat po. New Wilson siya. Sarap! Dinagdagan ko ng kayin. Tapos yung, dinamihan ko ng kunti yung ground black pepper. Yung lasa niya guys. Sa gilid ng palit mo, sorry. Sa gilid ng palit mo. Grabe! Grabe talaga.
Nakabili ka naman ng gift for the party?
Yes, see you too. May Shopee vouchers pa. Click the tag product sa video at automatic discounted na yan sa Shopee with your YouTube exclusive voucher.
It's easy as what? Shop and check out?
Yes, check out with exclusive YouTube shopping discounts.
Yan, halo natin.
So ito na naman ang episode ng ating crispy chicken. Una, kailangan nating hatiin ang chicken sa kalahati. Ganyan po ang paggayat. Tapos 1 cm lang po talaga yung laki ng chicken. At kailangan 8 piraso sa kalahati na yan ang iyong magayat kasi kusting po yan para magkaroon kayo ng ginansya o tubo. So ito po yung ating gagawin sa ating crispy chicken dahil maraming nagtatanong at lahat po ay nahihirapan. So ito po yung paggawa ng butter. Kasi yun na po ang
I won't treat you unfairly. What's rightfully yours won't be compromised. No need to feign generosity.
Owen, I've already signed the divorce papers. I was waiting for you. Had you not failed to show up with the divorce by now, why assume I'm pretending to be generous?
Do you plan to give up everything?
I've given up on you, so why would I want your money? Let's hurry, the city hall is about to close.
Are you that eager to be rid of me?
Yes, I'm determined to divorce.
Sir Gray might have
Never sought any projects for her father,
actually Mrs. Wayne.
who consistently discarded the meals Madden prepared.
Alright, I've got it.
The first thing I did after getting the ghost mask was summon my shadow soldiers to kidnap the school beauty. Then, we went wild playing ping pong in my room, because just seconds after I got the mask, she straight up stole it. But I wasn't even mad. I actually kinda wanted to laugh. See, the ghost mask can only be worn by someone else, but I get to copy the wearer's talents and abilities. And if they wear it for more than 24 hours, they become my servant, forever. The moment Lin Shi touched the mask, A dark, evil force wrapped around her instantly. It felt like she'd been swallowed by an endless void. Her eyes went completely blank. Voices echoed in her head and she couldn't shut them out. Pick it up, put it on. Lindsay stared at the mask, eyes wide with shock. So this is why the treasure finder led me here. There's a top-tier golden artifact right here. If I put this on, I'll definitely pass tomorrow's trial. Thinking that, Lindsay turned and looked at me. Sorry, Jung Yoo-young. I'll make it up to you someday, I promise. She left those words behind, climbed out the window and was gone. I'd been faking sleep. Now I sat up. You feel guilty? Then spend the rest of your life paying it back. Nobody can resist the ghost mask's pull. I knew you'd put it on. 24 hours from now, your S-rank talent is mine. Meanwhile, Lindsay was sprinting through the streets in a panic, gasping for breath. This was her first time stealing anything. She looked down at the ghost mask in her hands, and couldn't help but smile. I'm going to push this mask to its absolute limit. That's the only way I can do it justice. Her eyes hardened with resolve. Dad, watch me. I am the best heir the Lin family has ever seen. The instant Lindsay put on the mask, a terrifying power surged through me, and exploded awake. At the same time, a robotic voice suddenly blared in my head. Congratulations, host, talent acquired. Shadow Corp's S-rank treasure hunter. Plus the power of General Niga. All physical stats have been enhanced. Ability unlocked, brief shadow jump. Reading through the talent description, I was already hyped for tomorrow's trial. Next morning, I showed up at the trial grounds early. I spotted Lindsay in the crowd and smirked. Gotta give it to her, Lin the joke. Figured out the ghost mask in a single night. Once the mask goes on, it can never come off, but it lets the wearer change their appearance however they want. Looks like this girl knows exactly how to use that. Right then, a group of girls stormed over to Lin Shi. Leading them was Lin Shi's biggest rival. Well, if it isn't Lin the joke herself. Heard you awakened the most useless support talent ever. So sad. Want Big Sis to carry you through the trial? Lin Shi stared back completely deadpan. One word. Scram. Hearing that, Jung Yoo-young's face went dark. A nobody like you telling me to scram? Death wish. Next second, she reached into thin air, and a gleaming silver spear materialized out of nowhere. Looks like I need to teach you how this world really works. Just as things were about to go down, a thunderous shout cut through everything. Director Hufeng came striding over. Stop. No private fights on Academy grounds. Once you're inside the trial zone, go crazy. I won't stop you. Zhang Yiru reluctantly put her spear away, and played nice. Yes, Teacher Hu. But as she turned, she drew a finger